Hey, what's up everybody? Ben here from blogwithben.com, and in today's video, I'm going to walk you through the process of pointing a domain to NameHero Web Hosting and then installing WordPress on that domain so that you could host a new website or blog on NameHero. Now, this video is for anyone with NameHero Web Hosting who purchased a domain from a third-party domain registrar like GoDaddy or Namecheap, but you want that domain to connect and work with your NameHero Web Hosting account. So if that's the case, there are a few steps you'll need to take in order for everything to connect and work properly. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through that process step by step. Now, real quick, before we get started, if you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm so glad you found me. Here you're going to find professional step-by-step video tutorials and product reviews, all aimed to help you become the best digital creator that you can be. And if you find this video helpful, I would greatly appreciate it if you would like, comment, share, and subscribe to the Blog with Ben YouTube channel. Doing so helps me keep this channel going and growing, and it also allows you to stay up to date with all the digital marketing and WordPress tips and trends that are happening throughout the year. So as always, thank you so much for all your support. All right, with that being said, let's dive in and point your domain to NameHero Web Hosting. Okay, so first things first, let me give you a quick overview of how this is going to work. So for this particular example, I'm using NameHero's Turbo Cloud Web Hosting. This gives me the ability to quote unquote host unlimited domains. So regardless of where I purchase the domain from, I can host it here on NameHero. You can also do this if you have the Plus or Business Cloud hosting plans. Both let you add multiple domains to your hosting account. Okay, so back at my NameHero account, we're currently at my dashboard, and I'm assuming that if you're watching this video, you already have NameHero Web Hosting, but if you don't, just visit my affiliate link, blogwithben.com/NameHero, located in the video description below, and you could save up to 60% on your web hosting. All right, as I previously mentioned, this tutorial is going to show you how to point a domain from a third-party registrar at NameHero. I'll then show you how to install a free SSL certificate, as well as install WordPress on that domain so that you could build a professional, safe, and secure site hosted on NameHero. Now for this example, I purchased a domain from Namecheap, and I realized that these businesses sound the same, but Namecheap and NameHero are two separate companies. I apologize for any confusion, but regardless of where you purchased your domain from, the steps to add it and point it at NameHero Web Hosting are pretty much the same. And if we visit my Namecheap account, you can see the domain that we'll be using in this example. And if we visit that domain, you'll see that it's just using this Namecheap parked domain page. But we want to change that so whenever you visit this domain, it takes you to a WordPress site instead of this default page. And the first step in making that happen is to add this domain to our NameHero Web Hosting account. So in order for the new domain to work with NameHero Web Hosting, we'll need to add it to the account. And this is commonly referred to as an add-on domain, and it's basically adding an additional domain to your NameHero Web Hosting account. So to add the new domain, you'll need to access your cPanel. And the way to do that is within the NameHero dashboard, which is what you're looking at right now. And you actually have a couple ways to get to the cPanel, but the easiest that I've found is to click on your web hosting product listing, which will be right here in the middle of your dashboard. So go ahead and click on that once. And this will take you to your cloud web hosting management page. This is where you could do things like log into your control panel, commonly referred to as your cPanel. And to do that, go ahead and click on where it says log into cPanel. Either one of those will work. And if you're new to cPanel, it's basically a graphical interface used as a control panel to simplify website and server management. cPanel allows you to publish websites, manage domains, organize web files, create email accounts, and much more. But what we want to do right now is add the domain from Namecheap to NameHero. So within the cPanel, scroll down a bit and find the domains section, and then click on where it says domains. And this will take you to your NameHero's domain management menu and will list all of the domains associated with your web hosting account. At the moment, I only have one domain, which is my primary domain. However, since I have the Turbo Cloud hosting plan, I can have unlimited domains on this account. So in order for the new domain to work, we must first add it to this web hosting account. So towards the upper right corner of the screen, click the Create a New Domain button. And from here, all you'll do is enter the domain that you want to create, which just means you're adding it to your list of domains within your NameHero hosting account. So in the field provided, type your domain and be sure to not include the HTTP prefix or www before it. Just type it out like this. Then below that, you have the option to share the doc root with the primary domain of your account. However, doing this will serve the same content as your primary domain, so I recommend unchecking this box and creating a separate doc root file system for the new domain. And when you do that, by default, NameHero will use your new domain name as the new doc root, and I'm going to just leave it as is, but you can rename this whatever you want. Then below that is the subdomain. Again, by default, any add-on domain that you create in your hosting account will also create a subdomain using the domain in your primary domain. You can leave this as is because we'll be redirecting this a little later on in the video, so just leave it alone and do a quick double check to make sure everything looks correct and we have the right domain, new doc root, and subdomain, so that looks good. Then go ahead and click the submit button. And then this may take a few moments to create the new domain. We're only adding one new domain at the moment, so it shouldn't take too much longer, but just sit tight while it does its thing. And we'll give it a few more seconds. And success. The new domain has been created and added to our NameHero hosting account. You should see it listed here within the success notice in the upper right corner of the screen. All right, moving on. Next, it's time to point the domain's name servers at NameHero. In this portion of the tutorial, we're going to point the domain's name servers towards NameHero. Remember, our new domain is still sitting at the domain registrar. Even though we technically added it to our web hosting account, if anyone tried to visit it, they would still see this Namecheap page. But when we reconfigure the domain's name servers and point them at NameHero, this will tell the internet that the domain has been reconfigured to NameHero's DNS and will allow you to essentially control the domain within your web hosting account and do things like install WordPress and send traffic to that domain. Now, I know I'm throwing a lot of jargon and technical terms around, but trust me, it's super easy to set up, and I'm going to show you how to do it step by step. Okay, so if you recall, I purchased a domain from Namecheap, and if you purchased your domain from a different domain registrar like GoDaddy or domain.com, the steps to access your domain's name servers will be different. But the process to point them at NameHero Web Hosting will be the same. So hopefully you could still follow along even though I'm using Namecheap in this example. Okay, so this is my Namecheap account and we're at my domain listing. And I only have 2 domains from Namecheap, but I'm going to be using the blog demotimevideo.com domain. Remember, this is the domain that we just added to my NameHero account as an add-on domain. But in order for it to connect and work on NameHero, we need to reconfigure the name servers. So to do that, click the Manage button. And the way Namecheap has it set up is that the name servers are listed on the first screen here within the domain settings. Again, depending on your domain registrar, the steps to access your name servers may be different, but nevertheless, once you find them, the steps to point them at NameHero Web Hosting will be the exact same. Okay, so by default, the domain's name servers are set to Namecheap Basic DNS. But we want to change this to NameHero's name servers. Again, I apologize for all of the similar sounding jargon using the word name, Namecheap, NameHero, name servers. I hope it's not too confusing, but all we're going to do here is add custom name servers. So from the drop-down, select Custom DNS, and this will allow us to add whatever name servers we want. And regardless of your domain registrar, you should see 2 spots, one for name server 1 and another for name server 2. Next, we need to access the new name servers. So let's head back to NameHero, and within your cloud management section of your dashboard, the new name servers will be listed right here, ns1.namehero.com and ns2.namehero.com. These are what we'll use for the domain's new name servers. And all you'll do is highlight the first name server and then copy it. I'm pressing Command-C on my keyboard to copy it. Then head back to your domain registrar and simply paste the new name servers like so. So ns1.namehero.com will go in the name server 1 field and then paste it again in the name server 2 field, but I'll change this to ns2.namehero.com. And there we go. Then don't forget to save your changes. And you may get a notification alerting you that the changes have been made, but it may take up to 48 hours for the DNS server update to take effect. It honestly only took me about 15 minutes, but just keep that in mind if you go through this video and the changes haven't taken effect right away. Sometimes it just takes a little extra time. Either way, now that the name servers have been updated and they're now pointing to NameHero's web hosting, we can begin setting up the site within our web host. And the first step in that process is adding an SSL certificate to the domain. In this portion of the tutorial, we're going to add an SSL certificate to the new domain. When your site is protected with an SSL certificate, a padlock icon and the HTTPS prefix will display on your visitor's browser bar. This not only notifies them that your site is safe and secure, but it also assures your visitors that you take their security seriously. Now, one of the many reasons why I love NameHero Web Hosting is because they give you a free SSL certificate for all of your domains. Typically, you have to purchase SSLs, but NameHero saves you that trouble and gives you them for free. All you have to do is set the SSL up in your web hosting account. And let me show you how to do that. So this is all going to be handled within your cPanel. And you may have already opened it in another browser tab, but if not, go ahead and log back in to your cPanel. Then scroll down a bit and within the security section, click on where it says SSL/TLS status. And from here, you can use this interface to view the SSL status of your domains. And what you're looking for are all of the different versions of the add-on domain. There will be www and non-www versions of your domain, as well as various subdomains that are using the add-on domain within it. Again, all of these will be listed here, and they may have a red no crossing icon next to them. This indicates that they do not currently have an SSL certificate associated with them. So simply check the boxes next to the domains and subdomains that are marked with that little red icon, and then click the Run Auto SSL button. And this may take a couple of minutes to complete, so just leave the browser window open. And for the sake of time, I'm going to skip past us waiting for this to run, but once it's finished, you should see all of the domains and subdomains listed with the green lock beside each one. This indicates that the Auto SSL has been added and validated to the new domain. All right, moving on. Next, let's install WordPress on our new domain so that you can begin to build a new website or blog. Now that we've added the new domain and pointed its name servers at NameHero, as well as added the Auto SSL certificate to that domain, it's time to install WordPress. And one of the many reasons why I love NameHero is that they make the installation process super simple and fast with their one-click WordPress installation. It's all handled in your cPanel, and going forward, once you know how to do this, you can create multiple sites in a matter of minutes with their WordPress installer. So we're currently in the SSL section of the cPanel, but you can access the WordPress installation tool anywhere within your cPanel here on the sidebar menu on the left-hand side of the screen. Simply click on where it says WordPress Manager by Softaculous, and this will bring you to the one-click WordPress installer. This is where you'll obviously install WordPress on your domains, but it's also where you can manage a lot of the various aspects of your WordPress site, like logging into WordPress, creating a staging environment, creating backups, running updates, and even uninstalling WordPress. It really gives you complete control over your WordPress site, and I'm actually a huge fan of it. Now, I realize that the interface is a little basic, but it still gets the job done and is easy to navigate once you know how to get around. Now, I've obviously already installed WordPress to my primary domain hosted on NameHero, but now that we've added a new domain to the web hosting account, I want to install WordPress on that domain. So to do that, click the Install button to install a fresh copy of WordPress. And this will open the installer where you'll need to configure a few things before officially installing WordPress on the domain. So for starters, you'll need to choose the installation URL. This is telling WordPress what domain you want it to essentially display on. So under the Choose Installation URL section, make sure you have the HTTPS selected, and the first dropdown, Then select the domain that you want to install WordPress on within that second dropdown. Then next to that is where you could set the directory. I recommend leaving this blank. And then the last dropdown is the version of WordPress. Currently, while we're shooting this video, 6.2 is the most up-to-date version, so just leave that as is. And the installation domain is ready to go. Below that, we have some site settings. The first two fields are for your site name and description. This can all be configured within WordPress as well, so you don't really need to do anything here if you don't want to, because you can change these things in your WordPress dashboard once it's been installed. So I'm just leaving them as is for now. Then below that, you have the ability to enable the multi-site feature, as well as disable the WordPress cron. The multi-site is typically for bigger brands and companies that have a lot of sites that they want to manage and access within one WordPress dashboard. However, for this example, I'm just running one site, so I'm not going to check that box. Below that is the disable cron feature. And this is a personal preference, but you can improve website performance when you disable the WordPress cron because it reduces the number of times that scheduled tasks are performed, which lessens the load on the server. There are also possible exploits that can affect the wp-cron file, but it's really up to you, and this is just a demo site, so I'm not disabling the cron job in this video. However, you can always disable it after you've installed WordPress. So if you find that you want to do that, you'll have the ability to disable the cron anytime you want, just FYI. All right, next to that are your admin account details. This is the username and password that will be used to log into WordPress. So I recommend saving these in a safe place like a Google Doc, or maybe you write your passwords down somewhere, but either way, save these for safekeeping. Then below that is your admin email, and by default, it'll use admin@yourdomain.com, but that isn't a real email, so you'll need to change this to an actual email address that you want associated with your WordPress account. So go ahead and update the admin email in that field. And again, you could always change the admin email address within your WordPress dashboard after the installation. All right, scrolling down a little bit, there are a few more configurations like the language settings, plugin installation, advanced database options, and theme installation. Typically, you don't need to worry about any of these right now. The language, plugins, and themes can all be configured after WordPress has been installed, but I suppose you can install some of the plugins and your theme here if you'd like, but again, I always handle that stuff after I've installed WordPress. Then the advanced options are where you can do things like rename the database and enable auto updates for WordPress and your plugins. But I typically like to update WordPress manually and then leave the settings as is. So again, I'm going to leave all these settings alone. And that's going to do it for the installation configuration. The last thing left to do is to install WordPress. So go ahead and click the install button towards the bottom of the screen, and the installer will get to work and start installing WordPress on the new domain. And in a few moments, you should get a notification alerting you that the installation was a success, as well as showing you the URL where WordPress was installed and your admin URL. This is another way to log into WordPress if you need to, but you can always log in via Softaculous as well. But again, this admin URL is also used as a way to log into your WordPress dashboard. So feel free to save this somewhere for future use if you want to. But like I said, you can always log in here through Softaculous, and let me show you how to do that. So go ahead and click the Return to WordPress Management button. And then as you can see, we now have the new WordPress installation listed here, along with some quick configuration features if you want to change anything on the fly. Again, I'm a fan of this WordPress management tool because you could do a lot of pretty sophisticated tasks right here within the dashboard. And one of those being logging into WordPress. So anytime you want to access the backend of your WordPress site so that you can make changes, you'll need to log into WordPress. And the way to do that is to simply click the login button next to the domain that you want to access. And this will obviously log you into WordPress and take you to your WordPress dashboard. And if this is your first time here, this is like home base for your WordPress site. This is where you can create web pages, publish blog posts, install plugins and themes, and so much more. And we're not going to cover these aspects of building your site in this video, but whenever you have some extra time, swing by the Blog with Ben YouTube channel and check out some of my blogging tutorials. Those videos are more in depth and will walk you through the process of building a WordPress site from start to finish. But again, anytime you want to start making changes to your site, you'll log into WordPress and start here. And then really quick, by default, WordPress will install their most up-to-date theme, which right now, as of 2023, is their 2023 theme. And you can check that out by visiting the front end of your site by hovering your mouse over the site title in the upper left corner of your dashboard and clicking on Visit Site. And this will take you to the front end of the site and is essentially what your site looks like to the rest of the world. It obviously needs some work, but we now have a functioning WordPress site that is hosted on NameHero using the new domain. Awesome work. Okay, moving on. Next, there are a few more things I recommend doing to ensure that your domain and SSL certificate behave properly on your new site. Specifically, setting up a couple redirects. In the final portion of this tutorial, I'm going to walk you through my last two recommendations for setting up your new domain. The first recommendation is forcing an HTTPS redirect, and the second is adding a 301 redirect to your add-on domain's subdomain. So first, let's go over how to force the HTTPS redirect. So when it comes to your site and its visitors, privacy should be one of your top concerns. And thankfully, the secure protocol known as HTTPS can not only help you protect your site's visitors' information, but it can help stop attacks from would-be hackers and identity thieves. And thankfully, we already have the HTTPS prefix for the new add-on domain due to the free SSL certificate from NameHero. However, there will always be a separate version of your site that uses the HTTP prefix. This is like two separate and identical versions of your site, which can be confusing to your visitors and cause some privacy concerns as well. Plus, since July 2018, Chrome started marking all HTTP web pages as not secure. And this means that if your site is still showing HTTP and your visitors are using the Chrome web browser to view your site, then they'll see this nice little warning. This is a surefire way to scare visitors away, so that's why it's super important to make sure your site is up to date with HTTPS and that all traffic lands on the HTTPS version of your site. And the way to ensure that is to force an HTTPS redirect. So let's do just that. Okay, like I said, thankfully we already have the HTTPS version of our site ready to go due to the free SSL certificate. Now the only thing we need to do is force a redirect so that if anyone were to land on the HTTP version of our new WordPress site, they'll automatically be sent or redirected to the HTTPS version of the site. This is a common practice and will ensure that all web traffic will go to the HTTPS version of your WordPress site. So this will all be handled within the cPanel, so go ahead and log in to your control panel if you haven't done so already. And then scroll down a bit to the domain section and click on where it says Domains. And this will bring you to your domain management page where all the domains on your web hosting plan will be listed, and this is also where we can force the HTTPS redirect. So what you'll do here is click on that little gear icon towards the right corner, and you should get a drop-down menu item, Show Associated Subdomains. Go ahead and click on that. And this will display all the subdomains associated with your domains. And without getting too far into the technical weeds, when you add a domain to your web hosting account, it will always create a subdomain that uses the add-on domain and the primary domain within it. And we'll address that in just a moment, but what we want to do right now is create a forced HTTPS redirect. So next to the subdomain, simply flip that switch on, and this will force all traffic to the HTTPS version of your domain and subdomain. Now you should get a success notification, but let's test this out really quick to ensure that it's working properly. So I'm going to open an incognito browser tab, and in the browser bar, I'm going to go to the HTTP version of my new domain. And then when I try to visit it, we should be redirected to the HTTPS version of the domain. And success, we are. You can tell by the HTTPS prefix as well as that little lock icon next to the domain. This ensures that it's using the SSL and is safe and secure for your visitors. Now, if your SSL isn't working properly for some reason or you're having some issues with getting things set up, NameHero has a great article that walks you through everything that we covered in this video to help troubleshoot, and I highly recommend checking it out if you're running into any issues. You can also always reach out to me directly in the comments below the video as well. I'll be more than happy to connect and help you out in any way that I can if you're having issues with your new domain. Okay, the last thing I want to show you is yet another redirect, and is the final step in this whole process. So back at the domain listing, due to how cPanel is designed, creating an add-on domain also requires a corresponding subdomain to be created. There's no way to avoid creating a subdomain, and it's essentially a replica, an exact copy of your new domain. It'll be listed directly below your add-on domain, and when you visit it, you can see that it has WordPress installed, but when we look at the URL, the subdomain appears and can once again cause confusion among your site's visitors. And not to mention, there's the possibility that the search engines will index this page and then mark you for duplicate content. So one way to fix this is to just create another redirect so that all traffic that somehow lands on this subdomain will be redirected to your actual domain. So in order to set up this 301 redirect, we'll need to head back to the cPanel, and within the domain listing, click the Manage button next to the subdomain, and then just double check that you are in fact managing the subdomain. It'll be listed here. Then to create a redirect for the subdomain, click where it says Modify the Redirects, and this will take you to the redirect management section of your cPanel. This is where you can create, add, and manage all redirects in your web hosting account. And we want to add a brand new redirect. So first, select the type of redirect from the drop-down menu, and we want a 301 redirect, which is permanent, meaning it'll always redirect traffic to the desired domain. This is a common best practice and is favored by search engines, so I recommend using the 301 redirect. Next, you'll select the domain or subdomain that you want to redirect. So from that drop-down, find the subdomain of the add-on domain. It'll be your add-on domain followed by your primary domain on the account. And there we go. Then below that, you can add the subdirectory to the URL, but we don't want to do that, so let's just leave that blank. Then next is where we set the redirect and tell the internet where to send web traffic to, which will be the HTTPS version of the add-on domain. So go ahead and enter the URL that you want to redirect to in the field like so. Then below that, you can configure the www and non-www redirects. We want to redirect with or without the www, so make sure that that's selected, and it is. And this ensures that no matter what version of the subdomain the user types in the browser, it will still redirect to the correct URL. And then that's going to do it. So go ahead and click the Add button. And just like that, we now have our redirect. You should get a notification alerting you that it has been successfully implemented. And then if we go back to the redirects management page, you can see that we now have a new redirect listed here, and it looks good so far. But let's test it out really quick to make sure it's behaving properly. So I'm going to go to my subdomain, and you can see that this browser window currently has my subdomain open. And then when we refresh the page using the subdomain, it now redirects traffic to the correct domain. Awesome. And that's the last step in the process. You can now begin building your new WordPress site on your new domain. And just for good measure, let me show you another way to get to the redirect section in your cPanel. So let's head back to the cPanel. And if you scroll down to the domain section, simply click on the redirects icon. And this will take you to the redirect management page where you can create and manage your redirects. All right, congratulations, you have officially added a new domain with an SSL certificate to your NameHero Web Hosting account. You've installed WordPress on that domain, and you've set up the proper redirects so that the search engines know where to send traffic to, and so that your site's visitors have the best user experience possible. And as always, if you have any questions about this process or any questions about NameHero in general, don't hesitate to reach out in the comments. I'd be more than happy to connect and help you out in any way that I can. So that's going to do it for this video. If you found it helpful, I'd greatly appreciate it if you would like, comment, share, and subscribe to the Blog with Ben YouTube channel. Also, now that you have your WordPress site up and running, check out these 2 videos on email marketing and blog monetization. They'll show you everything you need to know step by step. And as always, your support means a great deal to me and my family, and for that, I thank you. So with that being said, I'll see you in the next video, and thanks for watching.